Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and I am so pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most high-stakes parts of hotel development. You see, when you picture a new hotel, you're probably thinking about the grand opening, the ribbon cutting, but the moment that truly decides if that hotel will succeed or fail, that happens long, long before. We're going behind the scenes on some serious detective work, site selection. So let me ask you a question right off the bat. What do you think is the number one reason a brand new hotel project fails before it even opens its doors? Is it a bad business plan? Maybe they ran out of money? Or a marketing mistake? Well, while all of those can definitely be problems, the real answer is often buried, and I mean that quite literally. It's in the ground itself. You can have the most brilliant, creative, game-changing hotel concept in the world. You can have a financial model that is absolutely rock solid. But all of it, every bit of it, can be completely worthless. Why? Because of what we call the billion-dollar blind spot. It's that one single hidden flaw in the physical site that can sink an entire project before a single guest ever even thinks about checking in. So to avoid that kind of catastrophe, developers go through a process called due diligence. Now, the key here is to stop thinking of this as just boring paperwork. It's not. This is true detective work. It's an intense, meticulous investigation designed to uncover every single secret a piece of land might be hiding, all to protect a massive, massive investment. Okay, so every good investigation starts with what you can actually see, right? So in the first 48 hours, the developers team hits the ground, and they are looking for the most obvious clues, the things that are right there in plain sight that will help determine if a site is even viable to begin with. Just take a look at something as basic as accessibility. A piece of land might be beautiful, but if taxis are always getting lost trying to find it, or if your delivery trucks can't even get to the loading dock because the streets are too narrow, well, you've just built a permanent, daily, operational hurdle into your hotel. It becomes this constant struggle that just slowly chips away at your profits and, of course, your guest satisfaction. And next up is visibility. You know, a hotel that's easily seen from a major highway or a really busy street has this huge, built-in marketing advantage. It's basically a free billboard that's working for you 24/7. This dramatically, and I mean dramatically, reduces how much you have to spend on expensive advertising just to let people know that you exist. All right, so once that initial on-the-ground survey is done, the investigation moves from the visible to the invisible. Now the team has to start reading the fine print. They're digging through documents, searching for all the legal and environmental traps that could be lurking just out of sight. And this slide right here, this is probably the single biggest hurdle they face. The quote really says it all. Zoning regulations are the number one reason a promising hotel deal just completely falls apart. A developer might absolutely love a piece of land, but if the local government's rules say no, then the project is dead on arrival. It's as simple as that. So what do these deal killers actually look like in the real world? Well, it could be that the land isn't even zoned for commercial use in the first place. Or you might find a more subtle trap, like a height restriction. Let's say your financial model requires 200 rooms to be profitable, but the zoning rules only allow you to build high enough for 150. Well, the math just doesn't work anymore. The project is no longer viable. But the legal code isn't the only invisible threat you have to worry about. The very next question our detectives have to ask is, what is literally lying right beneath the surface of the land? And this is where environmental due diligence comes into play. You know, was there an old factory on this land before? Because that could mean you're dealing with contaminated soil that will cost an absolute fortune to clean up. Or what if the site is in a designated flood zone? If that's the case, your insurance costs could become so prohibitively expensive that they would cripple your operating budget forever. Okay. Now, we've arrived at the climax of our investigation. This is the big one. The most costly, the most frequently overlooked, and honestly, the most devastating oversight a developer can possibly make. This is the truly invisible deal killer. So first, you have to understand a very simple fact. A modern hotel is an absolute utility-devouring machine. I mean, just think about it for a second. The laundry, the kitchens, the air conditioning for hundreds of rooms, the pool pumps, all the lights. It puts an enormous drain on local resources. So what happens when you plan to plug this giant machine into the wall, so to speak, but the local city grid simply doesn't have the capacity? What if there isn't enough water pressure or enough electrical power available right there at the edge of your property to even run your hotel? The answer, as you can see, is absolutely catastrophic. The developer might be forced to pay for all of the infrastructure upgrades themselves. And we are talking about building a brand new power substation or running a new water main for miles. The cost can easily exceed $2 million. And with that one unexpected expense, the project's profitability is instantly destroyed. The deal is dead. So after all of this detective work, after looking at the visible, digging through the legal, and verifying the invisible, we can finally get to the final verdict. We can finally understand the true cost of a site. This right here is the crucial lesson. The price tag on a piece of land, that's just the beginning. The true cost includes everything else you have to spend to solve all these problems. The new roads, the soil cleanup, those utility upgrades, just to get the land to a point where you can even begin construction. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, the detective's mandate is pretty clear. Step 1, investigate the visible clues, like access and visibility. Step 2, analyze all that legal fine print, especially the zoning. And step 3, which is so important, verify the invisible infrastructure. You follow these steps, and that is how you protect the investment. And that really brings us to you as you prepare to become the next leaders in this industry, whether you end up in operations, finance, or development. Understanding these fundamentals is absolutely key. So the next time you look at a potential hotel site, what's the first critical question that you would ask?